So now let's talk about the detect function within MoonDream. So basically what the detect function does within MoonDream that's different from the point function is it actually shows you the size of the object, right? So the point function, that just gives you the XY coordinate for whatever you're looking for, and that's it. With the detect function, it actually gives you the size, right? So basically what it does is it gives you the X minimum and the X maximum. And then it gives you the Y minimum and the Y maximum, and that allows you to do things such as create bounding boxes or do auto cropping, any kind of thing like that. So this is what we're going to be looking at for this particular class, is how to actually get the full size of the object that's being detected. So here's a script, but before we dive into the script, we're going to take a look at IMG3. So basically I want to create bounding boxes around any people that are detected here. Basically we're going to do a query for people. We're going to detect. Again, this is going to give us our X minimum, X maximum, Y minimum, Y maximum, and then we're going to create an HTML document with all this down here. So what I'm just going to do now is I'm simply going to run the script, and then we're going to do a little bit of a geek dance as we wait for this thing to finish. Okay, so now that finished, we get the output like we saw before. So this is a list of the values. This is turning it into CSS. We can come over here. I can do a refresh, and these are all the people detected. Again, how well it's detected the people. So detected that face. It detected that person. 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 I don't know. It's detecting all of that as a person. But this is kind of the cool thing with the bounding box is, again, it starts to give you a better idea of what the computer vision is actually seeing. One of the issues you get into with troubleshooting computer vision systems is many times you don't really understand what it's seeing, so you don't understand why it's failing, right? Even just simply with the XY coordinates, right, with the pointer. Right? If it just gave you points, you may think you understand what it sees, but you might be incredibly incorrect, right? The cool thing is with the bounding boxes, it starts to give you a little bit better idea of what it's actually seeing. And so again, you can fine-tune your project to try to make things a little bit better. So we come here to the script, and again, I'm going to tell you, the AI is easy. It's a CSS. It's going to make you lose your mind. Right, MoonDream import, we do the same thing. Model, as we've done before. Picture, you feed it a picture, you encode the picture, the whole 9 yards. We're then going to do a query. What is it that we're looking for? Detect result, model.detect, encoded image, comma query, right? And then we're going to get back, this is going to come back as a list of dictionaries. So we're simply going to print out detected, detect result, objects. So all the objects that come back, we're just going to print that out as that ugly little list. Then we've got to go through here, and we've got to turn that into an HTML document. With open, moondream-object.html, W for overwrite as file, file.write, the same thing for that outside, that container div box. Position is relative, height is 400 pixels, width is auto, inline block. Right, we're going to come down here, we're going to put the image in there, so whatever image we're dealing with, we're going to put the picture, we're going to make the height 100%, we're going to make the display block. Then we're going to come to here. And this is going to get just a little bit wacky, right? So for object in detect result objects, right? So basically we have a list of dictionaries. So we have to take all those values and then we have to turn that into something that CSS can use. So CSS basically works off of percentages. So we're going to get values back between 0 to 1. So we have to turn those into percentages. But then we're going to get minimum and maximum. So that's going to give us the width or the height. So basically we have to subtract the minimum from the maximum to get that size. So we got to do a little bit of math here. So we're simply going to say x equals object x minimum times 100, y equals object y minimum times 100. So the x minimum and the y minimum, we're going to take those values, we're going to multiply them by 100, and that's going to give us a percentage for where the start is for the div box on the screen. Right? Then we're going to say width. So width equals object x underscore max minus object x underscore min. So we're going to subtract the minimum from the maximum. Right? So let's say it starts at oh, I don't know, it starts at 0.2 and it ends at 0.5, right? So then we need to subtract those. So we come out with 0.3. 0.3 isn't useful. We have to then multiply that by 100. That gives us 30%. So it starts at, you know, 0.2 and then goes 30%, or it starts at 20% and then it goes 30% past that. We can use that for our height and width. Height equals object, y max minus y min, again, times 100. We're just simply going to print this out on the screen. So where the x begins and the width, where the y begins and the height. And then we're going to come down here and we're going to create all of those boundary boxes. Div, we're going to make the color red, position is absolute, border, 2 pixels, solid red, or whatever color you want. The top is going to be y, the left is going to be x, the width is going to be width, the height is going to be height, and it's going to create all of those div boxes for us, and then we're going to close, so we're not going to put anything in the div here. You'll notice here, the div is empty, there's no text in the div at all, right? We're just using the div box, and then once we get out of that loop, we need to close the container div, and that is what's going to give us this. So that's all there is to being able to create boundary boxes, again, with MoonDream. This is an absolutely awesome, piece of functionality that MoonDream offers that other models do not currently offer, and it allows you to do a lot of interesting things. Again, one of the most significant things here is literally understanding what the AI is seeing, because many times you think you understand what it's seeing, but you misunderstand what it's not understanding, and then a whole bunch of insanity takes place. Right? Throwing up some boundary boxes. Oh, that can just relieve days or a week's worth of troubleshooting just by getting a better grasp of what the hell the system is actually looking at. So anyways, this is what the detect function does for you and why it can be valuable. Absolutely great utility for MoonDream.